Start with the Tema Oil Refinery. Now, the Ministry of Energy has defended its position to turn the Tema Oil Refinery into a tank farm. A statement by the Deputy Energy Minister, Dr. Amin Adam, expresses surprise at how the CEO of TOR, Isaac Osei, has handled the issue. There is more in this report.
When the Energy Minister, Boakye Jako, first disclosed the plan to scrap the Tema Oil Refinery and turn it into a tank farm for the sole purpose of storing fuel, he got criticized publicly by one of his colleagues. The chief executive of TOR and a senior member of the governing party, Isaac Osei, was vehement in his rejection of the plan.
I didn't come to TOR to preside over its demise. I've not come here to run this company in order that we end up by scrapping it. And these are national assets. And as national assets, we should protect them. I don't think that the conversion into a tank farm is the way forward. I don't even know whether it is government policy.
He in fact warned any attempt to force through the plan to scrap TOR will cause financial loss to the state.
We've spent a lot of money rehabilitating the plant. We cannot, going forward, be accused of spending money and then scrapping TOR.
Well, there has since been a sharp rebuttal from the Energy Ministry. Deputy Energy Minister Mohammed Amin Adam, in a statement to Joy News, noted that the ministry is surprised about the turn of events at TOR. He says, quote, "This is not the first time the minister publicly discussed this. If TOR has issues with the proposal, the response should not be a protest by the CEO and staff. The CEO has access to the minister and he can submit a counter proposal on this. This is how serious business should be conducted," end quote. He explained that the ministry had already discussed the plan with both the board chair and the CEO. He says there's a proposal to revamp TOR, and to do this, the ministry has proposed to support TOR to build a new refinery with a capacity to refine about 150,000 barrels of crude per day. He argues that the current capacity of 45,000 barrels is simply not enough. He says the new refinery needs storage, and government could leverage the storage TOR already has. The ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee in Parliament, Adam Mutawakilu, rejects the explanation.
This announcement by the minister at OTC is quite a surprise to us, because as a committee, I'm aware another refinery is coming, but turning TOR to a tank farm is something that we won't resist. We'll resist it.
The Energy Ministry's decision to scrap TOR and turn it into a storage facility comes at a time when TOR had invested heavily to revamp its operations. The refinery will this weekend, for the first time in a while, commence full operations. What will happen to staff if government carries out its plan? There are a lot more questions that will require some answers.
In the meantime, the management and board of the Tema Oil Refinery has denied any assertion by the Deputy Minister for Petroleum, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, that the ministry has discussed its proposal to scrap the Tema Oil Refinery and make it a tank farm. A statement issued and signed by the Public Affairs Manager, Dr. Kingsley Nchiboisiako, in reaction to Dr. Mohammed Adam's assertion that the board and management of TOR were aware of the said proposal, mentioned that the board, management and workers of TOR will never agree to any such proposal which seeks to turn TOR into a tank farm. Energy expert Ishmael Ajakumhene earlier spoke to Emmanuel Abuaje Rafe on Business Live. We can hear his thoughts on the matter.
I am a little bit indifferent here. I have sympathies, or I have some sympathy for TOR, but over the years, TOR hasn't managed to convince all of us that they are prepared to do business. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I would like to say is that personally, I think it's if the policy has been made, the policy decision has been taken at the cabinet level, then it's up to the ministry to convince all stakeholders to come on board, and they need to convince and show entities like TOR why it is in the best interest of this nation to rather have a bigger refinery and convert, and because of the bigger refinery, you need a tank farm to be able to store the product before they are exported or they are sold to the domestic market. That decision, I believe, lies ultimately with the government of the day, but they have to do it in consultation with the people, all key stakeholders, so that we avoid this kind of banter going on in public with the TOR saying that they don't know about it and the workers saying that they don't know about it. If it's a policy that they intend implementing, then they have to engage all stakeholders properly, so that this kind of public disagreement it's avoided. If I heard the minister well, the first time he announced this policy or this intention to build a new refinery, he said they plan to build this new refinery next to the current TOR facility. And I'm not too sure they do have enough land there to construct this tank farm. But whether or not it must necessarily lead to the scrapping of the existing one, I would say no, depending on the location and depending on what they plan doing with this larger refinery. That's if they do have space for storage and all that, then why not? They don't need to scrap that. But if ultimately this is going to process all the crude or our daily petroleum, there are requirements as a nation where we need to do close to about 100,000 barrels or 120,000 barrels a day, then you want to ask yourself, in terms of the two, which one will be more efficient to be run? So at the end of the day, it becomes a question of economics, as well as other considerations, whether if we were to, as a national asset, we want to keep TOR, or this new one will be serving the same role. But it doesn't necessarily have to mean that the existing TOR will have to be scrapped. But then it's the same market they're going to be servicing, and you wonder which one will be more efficient than the other. But building a new refinery, depending on the location, doesn't mean that the existing one should be scrapped.
Ishmael Ejekumhene there, he's with Kite. Let's get on the phone lines now and engage once again the ranking member and minority spokesperson on energy, the Energy Committee in Parliament, Alhaji Mutawakilu Adam. Sir, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Now, the minority is obviously not in support of this. Yesterday you spoke to us, and I'm wondering whether after you spoke to us, there's been any further discussions among the minority as to what your position, official position is, and what available options you're going to explore in dealing with this matter.
Yeah, since yesterday, today I've been very busy. As you are aware, one of your correspondents, Elton Probe, has an engagement today, so I was there the whole day. So I've not been able to go to Parliament today to engage other people.
Very well, but then beyond you not being in support of scrapping TOR.
That is what I'm saying. But I still state emphatically that we are not in support of TOR being turned to a tank farm. No, we are never in support of it.
Exactly. So that is the minority's position. If that is the minority's position, you can just say it, and government will still go right ahead to do what it wants to do, if it indeed it has decided to go ahead with it.
It's very important that we state our position.
Right. But then what options are you looking at?
Government comes and goes. The country continues to exist. If government takes otherwise, we come to power, we will take our decision on that.
But then, as we speak...
That is the first thing I want to put on record.
Okay.
That if government takes a decision, government is there, the NPP government is not going to be in power forever. But we need to make our position clear as an alternative government. What way you are taking my view?
But then, I'm asking, per parliamentary procedure, is there any option available to the minority to make sure that something you are against doesn't get rolled out anyway?
You know very well that in Parliament, we follow the whip system. We can try to convene, but if it is put before Parliament, which unless funding through GMPC as they brought it. And as I said yesterday, when we are approving the program of activity for GMPC, there was a caption for a refinery, which the committee felt was not the proper option, and discussed it with the Minister of Energy and Ghana National Petroleum Corporation. And as a result, both the CEO and the Minister of Energy decided to drop it. Yesterday, I made it clear. Once it involves something that will come to Parliament, we state our position clear. Two, we can also invite the minister. But if the government decides to go further, we will make our position clear to them, our position, and that is it. That is what I want to understand.
What are the options? What are the legal options you think, for example, that maybe people, civil society, because we just heard from a civil society player who says that they don't think that shutting down a refinery because you want to set up another refinery is the way to go. But then, are there legal options, would you say?
Yeah, this is a policy. If it is a policy, there is a contradiction. The government can take a policy, but it must take that policy and make sure that it takes input of all stakeholders, including the civil society organizations, including the minority, which is government in waiting, in taking such. Okay. Because if they take that decision, and at the end of the day there is financial loss, there is impropriety, and the government in waiting NDC comes in 2020, then we'll take the legal, show that people pay for their carelessness. And that is why we are taking our position clear to...
All right, Alhaji Mutawakilu, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. He speaks for the minority on the Energy Committee in Parliament.